If it requires me going into your home to fix your HVAC system, you just distance yourself from AI disruption. Number two.
Hold on. Sorry. I got to stop you, right? Because and this is important, right? Because Elon Musk just said the surgeons will be doing these things. So why wouldn't just a Cybertruck show up with a robot that jumps out the back, cruises into your house, and does those things? So walk us through that difference.
Love that. Great question. My attitude is, so let's say that you and I are home inspectors. We're home inspectors. You and I actually crawl in attics and we nitpick the nail pops and the corner bead and everything. We're disrupted. We're out of business. But then you and I decided today, you and I are going to pivot. We're going to become business partners and we're going to buy a home inspection franchise. We now became the disruptors because you and I are now going to purchase $10,000, $20,000 humanoids in a self-driving Cybertruck and dispatch it all across the country to do home inspections.
Hey, welcome to the Build It to Billions podcast, where we guide successful entrepreneurs and investors on the journey from millions to billions. We believe the key to scaling and compounding your wealth and life starts every single day with the mindset and practice of stewardship over ownership and applying billionaire biblical principles. Our ultimate goal is to help you scale, compound your wealth and life so you can give more, all of it away to help MVPs. My name is Brett Swartz, and every single episode we bring on the world's best entrepreneurs, millionaires or billionaires, and they share their insights, their wisdom with us so we can all scale and make a bigger impact. Excited about our next guest. He's out of the South Florida area. He's been featured in the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, CBS Money Watch, and he's known for his honest, client-focused approach, and he guides clients away from franchising when it's not the right fit and ensuring alignment for long-term success. And he helps, corporate executives build generational wealth, diversify investments, pivot careers, and launch or grow family businesses through customized franchising consulting, and so much more. Please welcome to the show with me, Cliff Nonnenmacher. Did I pronounce it correctly?
Nailed it.
Okay, awesome. Cliff, for our listeners getting to know you for the first time, would you please give us a little more about your story and your current focus?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me on your show. I appreciate it, Brett. My story goes back as a child, actually. I've been an entrepreneur my whole life, age 8, age 9, just grinding it out. I used to scour for golf balls in country clubs and sell them at entrances. I ultimately created what I believe is the first Uber Eats back in 1991. I delivered about 300 deliveries a day. I believe I was the first subcontractor in the United States for McDonald's. I did 100 deliveries a day just for McDonald's. And we're just delivering food. We used what is now old technology, pagers. So each restaurant got a code, and they would enter their code and the number of minutes they needed me to get there. That evolved into water sport concessions. It evolved into auto detailing. It evolved into buying and scaling gyms. It evolved into the restoration industry, water, fire, mold, and biohazard. It evolved into restaurants. It evolved into boba tea. It's evolved into video stores. Like, there's so many different things that I have done. People hate the term serial entrepreneur. I happen to think it's quite fitting. You're just constantly doing things. I distributed the Fun Noodle, the little neoprene tube you float on back in, that was like 2000. Man, that was like really early, because I moved to Marco in 1988. And that wasn't too long after that I was distributing that Fun Noodle. The Fun Noodle didn't want to send small boxes to buyers. They wanted to send tractor trailers. So I bought tractor trailers of them and started distributing them across the country. They would just refer to me and say, hey, if you only want 5 boxes of these things, then call this guy. So yeah, but the journey's been exciting, but I didn't really start creating wealth till I got involved in franchising, right? So I was doing things on my own, but it wasn't going to really get me where I wanted to be.
Excellent. So that's what we're going to be talking about today with Cliff. By the way, you can learn more about it by going to franocity.com or franocity.com, franocity.com. And it's about helping you find the perfect business. And so let's start with that, Cliff. What is the number one secret to helping a corporate executive find the perfect business to franchise?
Yeah, for us, it's investment objectives, right? A lot of people focus on brand selection, and we say, forget the brands. Just stop looking at brands. Why are you here? What are your investment objectives? What are you trying to accomplish? What do you want to invest? What is your appetite for risk, appetite for debt, right? What do you need to earn? Is this a legacy play for the children and grandchildren? Are you trying to create an annuity in retirement? Are you trying to exit corporate America completely and start scaling your own business enterprise? So understanding the investor's objectives and exactly why they're here really helps us now on the brand selection side. And of course, geography. Where are you? A lot of people have great dreams and goals and aspirations, and then they live in an area, quite frankly, that is not going to support those goals. The discretionary spending, discretionary income. It's like, look, great idea. You've got big picture. You're thinking big. You live in the wrong area. You know, your demos are terrible. Your town has 10,000 people. What are you going to do with that? There's not a whole lot you could do with 10,000 people. I know I grew up on an island with 10,000 annual residents. You know, you have to execute pretty flawlessly to make all that work.
Makes sense. So here, I think what you're saying is get down to the brass tacks and the numbers and really the data, right, behind this. Only the investment objectives of yourself personally, but then also the data and the numbers for the actual business that you might be considering that fits that. And then, of course, geographically, you've got to make sure that those all work. Is that a fair summary so far on the first one?
Yeah, Brett, as an example, once a day, 5 times a week, someone will say, I want to buy a laundromat. It's like, okay, if you want to buy a laundromat, you're looking at $1 million, $1.5 million. And they're just like, whoa, I don't want a laundromat anymore. Everyone wants a laundromat. Everybody wants a gas station. Everyone wants to buy a convenience store. Everyone wants a liquor store, right? So there's things that people want, and they don't understand the investment level and what it takes to actually operate and develop that business. So we get back to the basics. It's like if you only want to invest $100,000, you just took a universe of brands and shrunk it to a very small subset, if you will, of opportunities that fit 100 liquid, 200 debt. What are you going to do with 300 when brick and mortar opportunities start at 354? So now you're looking at non-brick and mortar. It's like,
yeah,
so
it's
I
like
really
pre-qualify for a house. Like if you're going to go buy a house, like, okay, great. Of course you want the house on the beach with all the fancy, cool things next to the Lifetime Fitness Center and the, you know, all the walking distance to the restaurant, so you don't have to, you know, drive and park. And of course you want that. But what kind of money are you looking for a down payment? Can you qualify? So just getting really clear on that is the numbers. It makes sense. What's the number 2 secret to helping executives find the perfect business to franchise and to jump into?
Yeah, them. I subscribe to Jack Welch's 4E1P principle. It's like a lot of people come to us, they have no energy, they have no charisma, they have no ability to follow a proven system. It's like, look, you're just not a fit. I get what you want, but this is not the path for you. There are people who are just designed and built and would thrive as an employee. You're not a leader. No one's going to follow you. I don't care if it's $10 an hour people. They will not follow you. You're unfollowable. You know what I mean? You have no leadership skills. Like you're afraid to reprimand a $10 an hour employee because they come in late every day and they're demoralizing your entire staff. And you're afraid that they might quit. This is not for you. So if you don't know Jack Welch's 4E1P principle, it has everything to do with your energy. Do you have energy? Number 2 is, can you energize your staff? Number 3 is, can you execute? Number 4 is, do you have edge? Can you have that difficult conversation with people like you're fired, right? That's edge. And P is for passion. Are you excited? Are you passionate? Do people want to follow you? Do you have an energy that's just contagious that people are like, you know what? I want to do business with you. If you don't have the 4E1P principle, you're probably not a fit. Nobody talks about it because everyone wants you to just fog a mirror so that they could get paid. We don't do that. I talk more people out of this than I talk into it.
I love that. That's so being straight to it. Kind of goes into the first one. It's like getting really clear on if you have what it takes. And to be honest, you've seen enough people probably fail in this and succeed. So you're like, I'm going to be real honest with you. Like, do you have these 4 E's, 1P, right? So you said energy of yourself. Can you energize your staff? Do you have an edge? I maybe missed the third E. What was
execute.
Execute. Yeah. Can you execute on the plan, right? Do you have the ability to execute? And then do you have the passion, right? And the love for it? I like the way that Mark Cuban said, I saw a quote the other day. It's like, if you basically wouldn't do it for free, right? Like you love it so much that you would go out there and at least do it for a period of time, right? Until you can make a profit. If you if you don't have that, I'm probably not saying it correctly all the way in context, but this is that idea, right? That passion's got to be that drive, and if it's not there, then you probably shouldn't go into business, right? You're basically not gonna make it successfully. You're about to mention something. I kind of cut you off on the execute piece of it. You want to dive back into that a little bit?
Well, I just think that execution is everything, like literally everything. This country, most people we work with, most people that you deal with, they're idea rich and execution poor. They have all these ideas, right? And it's exciting to speak to these people because they're loaded with ideas. They never execute. They never create wealth. They never do anything. And if you meet them 10 years later, it's like, hey, man, what did you ever do with that? And the answer is always nothing. I did nothing with it. But you know what? They ended up doing it, and that was my idea. Someone's always taking their idea, right? It's like, we have these family members. Everyone has these people. Idea rich, execution poor. So I feel like, yes, energy is important. I feel like a lot of them are equally weighted. But execution really is what makes the dream work, and it's what makes everything happen.
I love that. I mean, there's this quote by Theodore Roosevelt, and I think we should all look at this maybe once a week or once a month, right? But it's not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly. So that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who know neither victory nor defeat. So when you hear this, Cliff, like this type of energy, execution, passion, edge, right? All kind of pointed into one quote. What comes to mind?
I mean, a lot of things come to mind. Just thinking about all the deals I didn't do, all the shots you don't take, right? And you try not to live that way. It's like, I never went to college. I just skipped college. I just went out there and just started doing things and building things and learning. Learning from the library, learning from hanging out with people that were doing more than me, having great mentors. But you're right. What really happened when you're doing that, there was a story apparently about like George Washington, and someone said in a bar, can you balance this egg? Can you balance this egg vertically? All the guys around the bar took the egg and tried to balance it vertically. He ended up taking the egg and he just put a slight dent in the bottom and held it vertically. And it was like, I could have done that, exactly, but you didn't, and I did. And it's like, so what you were saying, that's really long, and I would never be able to remember it, but the impact that had reminded me of those types of stories of, I thought of that, I know you did, but you did nothing with it. It's like, I could have done that, I know you could have, but you didn't do it.
Right.
That's what it reminds me of, and it's like, it reminds me of people turning 60, 70 years old that I speak to on the phone, and their attitude is, you know what, I missed my window. I really appreciate you working with me. However, I don't have the intestinal fortitude to do this at age 60, at 65. Man, I wish I met you at 50, 55. But I didn't have the intestinal fortitude to do it.
Yeah.
And now it's over.
I couldn't agree with you more. And by the way, there's books and studies on this, that the top regrets that people express on their deathbeds that are often overlooked. And you know what the number one regret is? Number one, not having the courage to live authentically instead of meeting others' expectations. And I think this right here is huge, right? Because I think it's the fear of insert the blank, the fear of financial insecurity, the fear of what other family members would think, the fear of if I'm going to fail, the fear of blank, right? That holds people back from living authentically, right? They have this something inside of them that's saying, hey, I really do want to jump and be an entrepreneur. I really do want to live out this passion, right? But they let the fear of others' expectations, right, hold them back from living out their unique calling on their life. And or, you're right, they didn't execute or be disciplined in the past, right, when they were coming up, right? And they put themselves in a position where they don't maybe have the position or aren't willing to sacrifice. I know for my wife and I, we homeschool our kids, nice. And we've done it since the beginning. We have 5 kids, and as a part of that, I had to work multiple side hustles while pursuing an entrepreneur journey, and 60, 70-hour weeks, working nights and weekends at Cheesecake Factory and doing AAU basketball tournaments while working at Marcus and Millichap to build my knowledge and skill set in brokerage and investments, and then it led to where we're at today with capital gains tax solutions. But you look at that and you say, if you didn't pay the price then, you might put yourself in a position to not be able to do the things you want to do now, and instead have to live to others' expectations. And so I think this is so huge. I think Michael Jordan says it well: you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. The other piece I think people miss is God's unique calling on our lives. I believe the definition of success is basically taking God's unique strengths that and blessings he's given you, right? Times that you've maximized those gifts, those unique gifts he's given you. Times you're making that as impactful for as many other people as you can, be a blessing to them. All with the understanding that this unique calling has been prepared for you to do, I believe, before the creation of the world, right? That's what the Bible says. And when you're stepping into that and you're living that, right, that equals success, right? And hopefully you make a bunch of money, and hopefully you make a bunch of impact. You should, if you're executing at a proper high level. But to me, that's another piece that gets missed. So I don't know, Cliff, have you seen in your consulting that side of things, beyond just the numbers, but really the calling and the purpose?
Yeah, it's very interesting. So we wrote a book. It's called Beyond the Brand, bestseller on Amazon in our category of entrepreneurship. And one of the things that we recognized, and you just touched on it a moment ago, is that no one discusses fear. And when fear is discussed, by the way, it is the most influential force in our lives and the least discussed. So do the math on that. So most influential, no one talks about it. What you will see are little stickers and little, quotes that will say fear is just an acronym. It's face everything and rise. That doesn't help. That does not help anyone overcome something that is biological. The brain is wired for survival, not success. The concept of climbing a corporate ladder is foreign to the amygdala. It's foreign. It's foreign to the brain. Right? The brain is all about just surviving, right? So when you start talking about winning, success, execution, like the brain, you have to rewire that. And that's why there's a 1% and a 99%, because those people have figured out how to rewire, how to adapt to this new normal. Fear absolutely kills more dreams than failure ever has and will. That's a fact. And it is one of the biggest issues that I have to deal with every day. Do you have the financial acumen to buy this franchise? Absolutely. Do you have the willingness to do it? Yes. Do you have the drive to do it? Yes. Do you have spousal support? Your spouse thinks you're a rock star. They want you to do this. Then why aren't you doing it? And it's all about fear. And what's crazy, Brett, about what I'm saying, the truth of the matter is this. Be honest with me. Why are you not buying the business? Honestly, I'm afraid that my in-laws, my outlaws, my nephew, my uncle, my children may see me fail. It's never about the economy. Now, they do masquerade fear in things called, there's tariffs, and I'm really worried about them, so I'm going to wait, right? And then there's Desert Storm. That was like 1990. You're still not doing anything, right? They always masquerade fear with, my accountant doesn't like it, spouse doesn't like it, there's something going on economically, there's some regulation risk I'm hearing about, there's this, there's that. There's always a reason instead of just being truthful with themselves. The other issue that I've learned, and there's a
Pause
great...
for a second. Before you go to the second issue, so how do you help those who are masquerading their fear?
That's what I was going to say.
Oh, okay, sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, you nailed it. Eckert, I don't know the proper pronunciation of his last name, but it is written like Tolle, T-O-L-L-E. Someone told me it's actually Eckhart Tolle. Now, this guy wrote the book on how to overcome fear, how to recognize it as the ego, because that's really what it is. The ego always regrets the past. I should have bought Bitcoin at 10 cents. And the ego always fears the future, the unknown. I'm going to fail. I'm going to die. I'm going to this, right? The way to overcome it is that what we've realized is that the average investor will run doomsday scenarios in their brain like a Steven Spielberg movie in 4K of all the ways that they're going to fail. And what we do with our clients is say, you must intersperse, right, the winning scenarios. You cannot just doom scroll and doomsday think. You have to start interspersing, well, what if I win? What if I retire 10 years early? What if I change the entire financial legacy of my family? What if? And when people start doing that, they start flipping the script and they don't fear the future as much as they are at the current moment. Because that's really what it's about. It's just doom scrolling, doom thinking. It's doomsday scenarios instead of saying, I'm going to win. And I know you know this. What you think about, you bring about. Your thoughts become things. If you're going to constantly think about failing, you will be a failure. If you constantly say you're a loser, you will become a loser. Like, it's just going to happen. It is a self-fulfilling prophecy. So thoughts become things, and what you think about, you bring about. So we got to get the client thinking more about the success, more about the execution, and less about failure and less about doomsday scenarios. And hedging risk. We have to have real-world risk mitigation strategies, like tax strategies, being tax efficient. How did we borrow that money? What did we leverage? What cash are we using? Does the failure change your life? So there's a lot of that goes into it. Maybe keep your job before quitting your job to risk mitigate the strategy. Gets people more comfortable with execution.
Everybody, we're speaking with an expert in the field, and if you want to learn more about everything that he's doing, Mr. Cliff, and I'm going to spell his last name for you because it's not going to be an easy one if you're just listening to this, Nonnenmacher. You can find him by going to, I call it franocity.com, but franocity.com, FRANOCITY.com, helping you find the perfect business, but really helping you now, like, unlock what's holding you back to push forward, to pursue your entrepreneurial dream, I think is really what we're talking about here. Okay, so that's incredible. I love that. Yeah, and I think, what you think, meditate, and give energy to, pray about, these are the things that it'll pull you in that direction, right? Pull you in that direction. And otherwise, if you're not planning, if you're not thinking, if you're not praying, if you're not meditating on the things that you really want and that are positive and are good, and the great outcomes, then you naturally move to the fear state of your mind, right? And you get caught in this doom scrolling is a great example, right? If you're just going on any kind of major political TV network, or even in financial network or social media, it tends to move towards the fear and the outrage, and that's just what you get caught into. And unfortunately, I think that's where 95% of the world spends their time and their attention. And so that makes sense. So what other secrets did Mr. Eckhart Tolle give for overcoming fear that you want to make sure we bring out today?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot about recognizing it and understanding your thoughts. And while you're recognizing and understanding those thoughts, you have to find a way, whether it's through meditation, whether it's through just rethinking, whether it's by pausing. You have to ask. Some people will get anxiety thinking about the future. Literally, they could be sitting at a dinner table and just thinking about doing something, and they're already sweating, heart rate, pressure, everything changes. Think about that. Like, your entire body can change just by thinking about, I need to publicly speak next month. Like, it's not even there yet. You're already sweating. And the idea is, look at where you are right now. You're safe. Like, why are you doing this to your body? Why are you creating this chaos within you? And it's like he really level sets. Catch yourself thinking negatively, see what happens to your body, and then just tell yourself, I am safe. There was something that he says in his book that's very interesting, which is, like, when you're a child and you're in bed and it's nighttime, you're thinking, like, there's things in your closet and under your bed. What happens, though, what's very interesting is, as soon as you flick those lights on, the fear can't survive in the light of day. So as soon as you turn the lights on, all of a sudden it's instant relief. And it's the same way about fear thinking. You have to figure out how to expose the fear thinking the same way a child would flick the switch and turn the lights on and instantly resolve the fear. Like, literally, it's instant. It's wild.
This is awesome. I love it. And I'm thinking about, the other one, false evidence appearing real.
Yeah.
Right. I've been studying anger and resolution. We had some family conflict in 2025 and hadn't had any family conflict, honestly, in like my entire family significant conflict, right? But we had significant conflict in 2025 with some extended family. And I'm like, gosh, like, where is this coming from, right? And I started to study a book by Gary Chapman. He wrote the book, The 5 Love Languages, but he also wrote another book, which is called Anger, right? And it's basically the proper biblical way to help process and work through anger and conflict and all this stuff. It was so good. And one of the chapters is talking about distorted anger versus basically like actual righteous anger or stuff that's like correct, right? And that's like really the beginning of this. It's like, is if we are telling ourselves a story and that story is based upon distorted anger, you actually will have all of the same feelings, like everything you were just saying, right? The thing, all the things of anger inside of your body will actually feel all the same. And the sad part about it is that you can trick yourself to believing that it's actual righteous anger because you're having all of the feelings, right? And so, but if you slow down and if basically it's telling yourself a more positive story and going to find out, asking good questions and going through it with an open mind about potentially what the facts are versus what you perceive them to be, that you can turn off, in other words, bring to light what the evidence actually is versus it being distorted. And so I was like, oh, this is so powerful, right? To understand that yeah, you might have the same feelings on both sides, but one is distorted, one is actual, and then helping yourself to work through that. And so I think this is kind of the same type of concept here.
Totally.
You're going to have the feelings of the fear, and that's legit. That doesn't mean that they are. It's not distorted based upon, it's basically, call it distorted fear versus what actually you should be fearful, right, of something. Is that a fair summary, Cliff? What do you think?
Yeah. You're reminding me of Susan Jeffers. She wrote a book called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. Like you feel it, process it, reconcile it. Am I safe? Yes, I'm safe. Is this going to destroy my life? No, it won't. It can only advance my career. It can only advance my family. It can only advance my faith, whatever you're doing, right? It's just like feel the fear and do it anyway. And she wrote a whole book about understanding your brain, understanding hippocampus, memory, where is this coming from? Like a lot of people just kind of go through life at rudderless, right? They don't seek self-improvement. They don't read. They don't consult people. They don't have, it's like, man, leverage collective intelligence. Right now, as you sit here, you can listen to the smartest minds in the world for free, just in podcasting alone. The smartest. What do you want to learn about today? Literally, like, what do you want to do? I'm actually shocked that people are still going to like Ivy League schools for $100,000 a year. I am actually blown away that people still subscribe to, let's say, the university concept. When I think that you could become the smartest person in the room by just leveraging collective intelligence, the smartest people in society. Podcasting is a medium to learn exactly that. It's like, what's your issue? What do you want to resolve? You have marital issues? No problem. You have health issues? No problem. What's your issue? I don't know if you heard this yesterday. Elon Musk basically told the world going to medical school now is actually like pointless. His word, pointless. In the next 48 to 60 months, his robots will be better than the best doctor on the planet. His humanoids will be better surgeons than the best surgeons on the planet. It is pointless to go to medical school unless you just want to know health and medicine for your family and friends. Think about what I just said.
That's a whole other episode right there.
Think about that.
Yeah.
No, well, the point I was trying to tie it back to leveraging collective intelligence and understanding where we're going as a society and skating to where the puck is going, not where it's been. Like get with the program, like folks.
So let's bring that all back to the kind of the show's topic, right? Which is helping you find the perfect business. With that being said, AI, automation, all of this talk us through the top, 1, 2, 3, or 4, or 5 franchisable, protected from AI type of businesses, Cliff, that, if someone has these, the 4 E's and the P from Jack Welch, and they have a passion, right? And they want, what would you walk them through right now as the kind of the top 5 to focus on?
It's exactly that. We do focus on 5 exactly. It's in our book as well, which is interesting. No, we were not in a green room rehearsing. This is actually live, right? A lot of people think these things are scripted. No, they're not. No. They're not scripted. You got to be quick on your feet because you have no idea what's coming at you. Our book is actually 5. It's 5, actually, literally. Number 1 is what we call, let me explain so the audience can understand where I'm coming from when I say this. We coined the 5. The number 1 is what we call feminization of men in America. And why do we call it that? Because for the last 2 decades, we've told our men, do not become a tradesman. Go to college and learn about gender studies and political sciences and things you'll never be able to monetize. But you will go into debt 100, 150 grand. It will mortgage your future, and you will never buy a home until you're probably 40 to 45, which is an accurate statement. Average age in America right now is 40, which should scare the crap out of everybody. So what else? We destroyed their testosterone levels. We destroyed men's sperm count. Sperm count in Western civilizations down 50%. Why am I mentioning this on a business show? Because franchises are helping with ED. They're helping with these issues. They're helping with testosterone therapy. And the feminization of men category has everything to do with men using tools, because tools and hand dexterity is the furthest distance from AI disruption. So embrace tools, embrace anything with hand dexterity, and embrace any business idea that requires feet on the street. If it requires me going into your home to fix your HVAC system, you just distance yourself from AI disruption. Number 2.
Hold on. Sorry. I got to stop you, right? Because and this is important, right? Because Elon Musk just said the surgeons will be doing these things. So why wouldn't just a Cybertruck show up with a robot that jumps out the back, cruises into your house, and does those things? So walk us through that difference.
Love that. Great question. My attitude is, so let's say that you and I are home inspectors. We're home inspectors. You and I actually crawl in attics and we nitpick the nail pops and the corner bead and everything. We're disrupted. We're out of business. But then you and I decided today, you and I are going to pivot. We're going to become business partners, and we're going to buy a home inspection franchise. We now became the disruptors because you and I are now going to purchase $10,000, $20,000 humanoids in a self-driving Cybertruck and dispatch it all across the country to do home inspections. Listen, you're going to be in one of 2 categories in the next 48 to 60 months. You're either disrupted or you're the disruptor. That's it. It's that simple. So I believe that home services will be disrupted by humanoids. The difference is that, Brett, you and I are going to own those humanoids, and we will dispatch them to Mrs. Smith's house to repair her HVAC system.
Let's go to number 2. I love it. Who's
number 2? Number 2 is going to be the silver tsunami. We live in Florida. This country is aging rapidly. In the next decade, it will be classified as a super aged nation, which would be Italy and Japan, which means that 20% of your population is 60 and older. That's scary. You have no youth, and we're not repopulating. It has a lot to do with low T, low sperm, and not having babies. And, of course, inflation, cost of living. Kids don't want to have kids. So the silver tsunami and anything involving the aging, graying of America is an investment thesis that will continue until you and I are long gone, and our children are probably long gone. That's how long of a runway you have in dealing with anything aging, whether you're doing home care, medical, non-medical, ramps, mobility. Number 3, since we're not repopulating, since we're aging, we have humanized pets and animals. So anything in the pet and animal category, $150 billion market cap last year. $150 billion was spent on pets and animals in this country alone. Massive market. Dog boarding, dog grooming, dog daycare, dog training, dog retail, dog clothing, dog spas. In affluent communities, they treat dogs like children. They have birthday parties for them, spa treatments for them. Next, because we're aging, anything involving anti-aging, biohacking, peptides, testosterone therapy, hormone therapy for women, NACs, do the math, cold plunging, red light therapy, contrast therapy, cryotherapy, IV infusion therapy. This is huge. People are looking at the white lab coat and saying, I don't trust you. I don't trust you anymore. You had a food pyramid upside down. I don't trust you anymore. Okay? You had a food pyramid upside down. You told me fat was bad. You told me sugar was good. You told me injections are amazing and I should get 70 injections in an infant. Come on. Like, this is all nonsense. So what are we seeing? We're seeing people wanting to biohack. They want to anti-age on their own. Franchising provides a ton of anti-aging, biohacking, beauty, vanity type brands. Lastly, and I had no idea that you were homeschooling. Lastly, public schools are literally an abysmal failure. They have failed our children. They failed this great nation, okay? Total failure. And I'm not saying teachers are bad. I'm saying what they're told to do is bad. That's what I'm saying, right? So anything in the category of youth enrichment and making these children the best version of themselves, the greatest contribution to the society that they live in, anything that could do that, whether it's cooking, home ec, welding, learning tools, whether it's music and using both hemispheres of your brain for better critical thinking and better problem solving and better reasoning skills in your future marriage. Like, all this stuff, people don't realize that art and music are not about art and music. It has everything to do with your brain and the way you view the world and how optimistic you are and how you think. It has nothing to do with music. Think about music for a minute. Using your hands and reading music is literally firing both hemispheres of your brain at the same time. If you want to know how difficult that is, if you read the word blue, but the word blue was colored red, and I said to you, say the color, not the word, you would hesitate. Because you're using both hemispheres of your brain. One hemisphere wants to read the word blue. The other hemisphere wants to call the color for what it's written in, which was red. You literally would go, okay, hold on. Red. There's a game called Shoot the Rabbit where you do this. I don't know if you could see me. And then you have to quickly flip. If you tried it, it's both hemispheres of your brain firing right now. It's not easy to do. You'll struggle a little bit. If you do this all day long, it's called the corpus callosum. It's the bridge for both hemispheres of the brain. Super powerful. That's what youth enrichment is all about, and parents want it. Swimming lessons, science, technology, engineering, math, architecture. We got to get back to the basics. I know you know this, and I'm preaching to the choir, but I truly believe that franchising can help the average investor with zero industry experience execute these businesses and create a legacy for themselves and wealth.
This is amazing. Cliff Nonnenmacher, you can learn more about him by going to Frontosity.com, helping you find the perfect business. And we just rattled off the top 5. Public schools are failing. Is there anything to do with, helping teens and kids, anti-aging, pets and animals, the silver tsunami, helping the baby boomers, anything to help men to become men, men to act like real men. Incredible stuff here. Let's pivot a little bit to if and when you were to exit. So you hit it big, right? You're an entrepreneur and you have multi-million-dollar exit, 5, 10, 50, 100 million bucks. I'm curious, Cliff, you've been in the business long enough. You've exited businesses, right? Mm-hmm. What happens in the capital gains tax? What's been your go-to solution, and/or what's been your biggest frustration of not having a great solution? And maybe I'll offer some people some really cool insights here and some options right now.
You know more about tax efficiencies than I do, right? So you could speak way more intelligently on it. I've done multiple 7-figure exits. They create massive tax implications, right? As you know, there are strategies that we can employ up front where, as they say, build the plan with the end in mind. Mm-hmm. I do like Rob's. I know you're familiar with it, the rollover business startup, to create that tax deferred. But there's also a Rob's Advantage, which will allow you to have preferred shares that own the company, and it treats it like a Roth IRA. So on the exit strategy, you have a tax-free distribution of the gains of the business. The key is setting up the corporation from day one under this program that would allow the exit to be tax-free. You can't do it midstream. You can't do it at the end. You can't do it when the company is already valued at $4 million, right? You have to do it when the business is basically worth nothing. It's conceptual. We create an entity. We purchase the business. We scale. The business is worth, 7, 8 figures. But thankfully, we created these preferred shares in the very beginning that were owned by a Roth IRA. There's a company called Benetrends that does it successfully. It's been blessed by the Internal Revenue Service as a tax strategy. And I know everyone listening is saying it sounds too good to be true. The reason it's not too good to be true is because you're creating this with the risk of failing. You could fail. It's not like it's just win, and it's a tax-free distribution of wealth. You could lose. You could fail, and that's why. It's like, you know what? If you do it from the beginning and you're taking your chances as an entrepreneur, if you happen to win, you have a tax-free distribution of wealth. If you lose, right? Because you lost. You lost whatever money you put on the line. So I do like the Robs, and I do like the Robs Advantage, and I do like these tax strategies because a lot of our deals, Brett, do not include any real estate, so we don't get the benefits of a lot of your tax exchanges and moving money and kicking the can down the road, if you will.
Yeah, and just so everyone listening, we do have an option that works for business. We did a $70 million exit out of Connecticut for a tech startup company, not using a 1031 exchange, which tends to just kick it to the next deal, and also only works for investment real estate. Our strategy also works for cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, and real estate. Any stock exits, and especially what Cliff just said, sometimes, and actually probably 99% of people don't even know about Robs and haven't set it up, and it's too late and all these kind of things. So our strategy doesn't require any seasoning, right? So you could be elected. In fact, a lot of people find us 30, 60, 90 days before exit, Cliff, and they're facing a $1 to $100 million exit, and they're like, I don't want to get crushed with this tax. What do? We build an installment sale with a trust that issues them a promissory note. And this is the key because it doesn't have any seasoning. You can work for multiple partners. You can work for S Corp, C Corp, LLCs, asset, stock, sale, doesn't really matter. And we set it up. We have a second version that actually does matter for one of them. But basically, we're building a capital gains tax exit plan to defer the tax, help you to invest the funds. And the best part is you can turn around and you can fund your next business venture, all tax deferred, kind of like a self-directed IRA, right? So you can still be an entrepreneur if you want to be an entrepreneur. Collectively, with the tax team who created thousands of transactions, close to 30 years, went through all the audits. If people want to learn more about this, you can go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. You can also pick up the book, Building a Capital Gains Tax Exit Plan, with Kevin Harrington from Shark Tank in the book, which is pretty cool. Basically, my journey to learning about this after the 2008 crash, and I wish every entrepreneur and investor would have known about it before then. And we could have helped a lot of people exit really smart. Go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. That's capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. That being said, Cliff, we are running out of time. Are you ready for the lightning round, my friend?
Go ahead.
All right, knowing what you know now, if you could go back to your 20-year-old self, what's the one gold nugget make sure you tell yourself to do?
Take way more risks than you've taken. Way more risks. I'd be way wealthier.
Perfect. Question number 2, what are you most curious about right now?
Oh, well, quantum computing and how AI is going to affect the entire planet.
Awesome. Question number 3, number 1 leadership quote or theme that you strive to live by.
Don't take advice from people that aren't where you want to be.
Excellent. Question number 4, how do you best stay centered in your values and stay ultra disciplined with your habits?
That's an interesting question. How do I best do it? I'm very disciplined, and I think I just stay disciplined by listening for signal, not noise. I really don't listen to very many people. I stay true to myself and my beliefs, and I just carry on, despite the unintended consequences of doing that.
Excellent. And the very last question, which is the heart of the Build to Billions podcast. We're also streaming on Capital Gains Tax Solutions podcast and YouTube channels as well. And it's really this, right? How do you best practice a mindset of stewardship over ownership? Knowing that ownership or stewardship, meaning like everything we've been given is a gift from God, I believe, right? How do you best practice that versus ownership, meaning like it's mine, I earned it, it's here. Do you have a way that helps you stay centered in that?
I don't know if I do, other than to say to you, I will tell you daily, I have an attitude of gratitude. I am very grateful for people who believe in me and trust me, want to work with me. We're talking about legacy. We're talking about life savings. I have a large fiduciary responsibility, and I take it very seriously, and I'm very grateful. And I read a quote many, many years ago when I'm in my 50s now, when I was very young. It's like, work like you don't need the money, and I do that, and I got to tell you, it's quite liberating, and it really allows me to just do the right thing every time. Just work like you don't need the money, just tell people exactly how you feel, what you know, tell the truth. That's actually, just so you understand, like what I just said, that actually became part of my podcast, where it's not just good stuff. I will always do a pop episode where I talk negatively about something that I don't like about my industry and expose it.
I love it. Hey, Cliff, Nonnenmacher, it's been amazing to. By the way, what's your middle name? I gotta know that. I gotta know that.
Robert.
Okay, so yeah, of course, it's just so common, the middle name. I love that. It's been more than a pleasure and an honor to have you on the show, and I encourage you to keep using your gifts of helping people really move into that dream and that calling for business entrepreneurship. I believe the entrepreneurs in the next great movement for the gospel and for the church, and I'm a Christian, so I don't say this lightly. Billy Graham said that it would be in the marketplace, right? And so you're on the front line of helping people pursue their passions, pursue their dreams, make a difference, make an impact for people, and it couldn't be more important than what we're facing in the next 5, 10, 15 years with the silver tsunami, with the crises that are facing America. Entrepreneurs, business owners are the backbone of America, and will make the biggest changes and impact for the world. So keep doing what you're doing. We need more Cliffs out there. For our listeners who want to get in touch with you, one last time, what's the best place for them to find you?
Website, Franocity, FRANOCITY.com. And just, they could schedule a call with me.
Perfect. Thanks, Cliff. And I also want to thank all of our listeners and our viewers for watching and or listening to the Build to Billions podcast. We're on YouTube with Capital Gains Tax Solutions podcast YouTube channel, as well as Build to Billions. We're on this journey with you to scale from millions to billions, so we can give more all of it away to help MVPs, the most vulnerable people. We want to help you and encourage you today to take action with everything you heard. Of course, if you have a major exit coming up from business, Bitcoin, real estate, million plus gain, $1 million plus proceeds, we want to encourage you to go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com to schedule a no-cost consultation to build a capital gains tax exit plan. Because what is it worth if you spend 10,000 hours to build the business and all the things just for the government to crush it by 20 to 50%? And you can build a plan with us in about 5 hours to exit, before you exit, to build a plan to land the plane safely and be able to invest and compound the wealth and impact. Just go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com to learn more about that. Appreciate everyone listening and watching. Please also share this with someone who can make an impact for. We appreciate you out there. Bye.